Hey, wellness coaches. Welcome to the new year 2019 and to the success series that we have happening in this group. Before we get started, I just want to make sure that everything is connected. So just give me just a moment to check if this live is actually on in the group. If you're able to see and hear me, just leave me a message, just, a yes or hi, just so that I know that you're here. And let me just have a look. Okay, it looks like we are connected. So I'm going to go ahead. If you have any questions along the way, please feel free to drop them here. So the intention of these success series that I decided to do this year is just to continue the learning that a lot of you who joined during the summit that I did last year had, but do it more in a bite-sized format so that you have weekly experts coming in, you teaching really important key topics, but giving us enough time to actually implement them. So that way, we have enough time to actually review the material, make some action, and then get connected and really see the progress in our business, which is a bit different from a summit where you're getting to see so many experts, but you really have to pick the time and really just select the topics that you want to learn more about. So I hope you'll find this really, really valuable. Today we have Gina who's joining us. So I just want to bring her onto the screen and then take a moment to introduce her before moving on to the topic that we have today, which is all about goal setting with desire mapping. So just a second. Hi, Gina. How are you doing?
Good. So great to be here.
Yeah, so excited to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us and being open to sharing about this topic because, goal setting is something that we all get so excited to do every year. And sometimes what happens is that we go so ambitiously into setting massive, massive goals and then drop the bomb somewhere along the way. So
Yeah.
I think the strategy you're going to share with us is going to be very valuable. But before we go on to the training, I just want to take a moment to introduce you just so that other people who may not yet know you can also get to know you. All right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Gina is actually, she's actually a health and wellness coach, or she became a health and wellness coach in 2012. But over the past couple of years, she's become a best-selling author, speaker, and clarity and success coach. She works with mostly female entrepreneurs and corporate leaders to help them discover their unique gifts so that they can start making bold decisions and really create a massive positive impact in the world. And after spending many years in corporate sales, Gina became an entrepreneur in 2012 after she became a health and wellness coach, which is, how she got into this first side hustle. And very soon after becoming a health coach, I'll let Gina probably share more about her story. But she ended up with adrenal fatigue because of trying to do too many things at once. And that's how she ended up coming across desire mapping and really loving what you do and having fun with it and creating massive transformation and really, sticking through the journey basically. So she also helps a lot of her clients. She works with a lot of people, but she mostly does private coaching, masterminds, and retreats. So she has a lot of years of experience, and I'm super excited to have her here. So once again, welcome, Gina.
Yay. So glad to be here. Thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back into the comments and I'll leave the floor to Gina so that she can give us valuable insights into this topic. And if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in the comments. I'll keep monitoring them. And after the conversation, I'll pop back up and we'll make sure to answer every question that you have. So take the floor.
Awesome. All right, you guys, I'm so glad to be here. Health and wellness coaches are my favorite, obviously, because I was one, still kind of one. And like Ruki had said, I did go to IAN. I did become a certified health and wellness coach. And but because I was actually doing it in a way where I was building my business, going, really passionate about it, but I also had a full-time job. This is even before I had kids. I burnt out really bad. And because I was chasing all the things, doing all the things, trying to figure everything out, trying to run a business, having clients, and, all the things. And so those of you that experienced adrenal fatigue or burnout, like it's not fun. Obviously, you feel completely exhausted. The things that used to light you up don't light you up anymore. And so I was trying to remember when the Desire Map actually came into my life. And it might have actually been somebody from my IAN or somebody recommending it. And so I did read it. And it just made complete sense. It was at this point in my life where I needed a different, what I call operating system. The way that I was currently operating it was not working for me anymore. You know, when we're chasing our goals and going after what we want, those of you that resonate with the word ambitious, like if you feel like you're ambitious, which most of you, I'm going to guess are, if you are starting your businesses. And so we're getting really ambitious, going after it, but there's a downfall to that. And many times it's burnout and frustration and overwhelm. So when I learned this new concept, it was basically at my lowest point when I'm like, this is not working. Something has to give. And obviously I'm suffering at this point, right? So that's kind of where sometimes I am. So if you have thought about like all the things that you want to create, all the things that you're chasing after, building your business, getting clients, you know, creating the life that you want to be living, but sometimes we get stuck in the goo. Sometimes we have really big ideas that we want to do, or sometimes we have even goals that maybe don't fit well with us, but we see other people doing it and we think we should be doing them. And so we have a lot of pressure to perform and things like that. And so the process of achieving your goals doesn't feel good, right? So the achievement part, the process, the journey, the steps that you're taking, the daily life, you're suffering in the process. And that's kind of what I want to kind of help you with, is kind of reverse that so that every step of the way feels good. Because the whole concept behind what I teach is we're not actually chasing the thing. We're chasing like the goal. We're not actually chasing the goal. We're actually chasing what we hope that goal or that achievement will make us feel. Okay. So I'm a very feeling-based person. We talk a lot about feelings, and why that is so is because if we can get in touch with how we actually want to be feeling, and why we're chasing the things that we're chasing is because we actually want to feel a certain way, then we can get to that core of that. And sometimes a couple of things happen when we do this. Either the thing that we're really chasing, that we've been working so hard and striving for, we actually realize we don't actually want that. Or we get to feel the feeling now and kind of get into that vibration now, and that actually helps us get it faster. And I've seen this over the 4 or 5 years that I've been teaching this. So it's really exciting. I obviously am pretty lit up about this topic. I teach a little different version of the Desire Map because when I read the Desire Map for the first time, it was really interesting to read the theory, but how do you actually put it into practice was where I felt a lot of people fell short. Maybe you have read the Desire Map yourself. Let me know if you are familiar. So I've kind of combined it with a lot of different strategies from my background into how it can actually make it work for you. Because there's theory, right? We can read all the books in the world, and then there's practice. And so we want to make sure what is the most important thing when it comes to this theory, and reevaluating your operating system is the actual practice, right? Just like anything, you guys are health and wellness coaches, so you know that the change comes with the practice. So we're really looking at a new way to assess your goals and why you're even chasing the things that you're chasing. So my whole thing is, if you're sacrificing yourself in the process, if you're hustling, if you're pushing, if you're striving, now we all have to do that a little bit, right? When we're doing some things, but if that's your current state all the time and you feel like it's just so hard that once you get there, what's the point if you're sacrificing yourself in the process? If by the time you actually get that big client, or you finally make that amount of money, or whatever, you finally can afford that vacation to Hawaii, you are completely exhausted by that point, then you're not really enjoying it in the first place. So that's kind of the cusp of how we want to address why we want to think about this in this way. So we really, what I like to say is, make the journey feel just as good as the destination, but I'm actually here to tell you, I want your journey to feel better than the destination. Okay. Because then who knows if we'll ever get to the destination? I don't know. But if you just love life and you're feeling really good every day, then isn't that the whole point? Right. And I will tell you, and I'll get to this in a second, I have developed this way to basically use it as a compass in how I'm making decisions as I go, how I'm setting goals, how I'm pursuing the things that I want to pursue. And over the last 4 or 5 years, the decisions that I've made, especially the big decisions like quitting my corporate job and deciding to have kids and buying a house, like really big decisions, have come from using this system. And it wasn't things that I had planned in my, 12-month, goal setting plan. So knowing that these things can come up, that you can make decisions in the moment that are still really aligned and that won't throw your whole operating system off, right? So we know that things come at us. We can sit here in January and try to plan out our whole year, but I can guarantee you that something that you don't even know will probably happen, right? Good or bad. And so we want to be able to have this system to be able to make the right decisions, feel the way we want to feel all the time, so that nothing kind of throws you off course. Okay. So this is what I call like your internal navigation or your internal compass, so that it can guide you as you go. You can adjust your sails as you go, and it's going to not feel off or uncomfortable. It's going to feel really good. So that's the whole point, is to feel good, right? And the word good is a placeholder for however you want to feel, right? So the first step is to understand what we call the core desired feelings, or basically how you want to feel in all the areas of your life. Now, there's a whole process I take people through, and we don't have time for it, but I do have we'll talk about the handout that you guys can download that has this whole process too detailed. But what I love about you guys is you guys are health and wellness coaches. So those of you that are familiar with the circle of life, especially from IIN, those of you that went to IIN. So it's a circle of life, and you have all the different areas, okay, of your life. So I actually use a different version of that for core desired feelings. And so you have the different areas: livelihood, lifestyle, wellness, creativity, relationships, and spirituality. Really similar. But we are scaling, how do you feel in those areas? So kind of similar, you scale from 0 to 10, 10 being the highest. Again, same thing. But then we're going to dive into, okay, how do you feel now? So those of you that are health and wellness coaches, you can even, we can use, let's just say wellness as one of those areas. Or it could even be your lifestyle, your livelihood, which is how you're making money. So maybe you don't feel that good about it right now. Maybe in your livelihood, you feel like you're throwing spaghetti at the wall, nothing's working for you. You haven't really clarified your niche, like all the things. And so you're struggling. And so maybe that's like a 2 or a 3 or a 4. And so same thing, like if you were to help somebody and they said their wellness or their body feels that level. And so we can now say, okay, so what I have you do is then write down all the things that you're feeling right now. And it could be totally negative. All the things you're feeling negative about, let's say your livelihood. And I want to get to the feeling word. So not action, but the feeling word. So I'm feeling depleted. I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling restricted. I love words. So I love helping people find like the right word for them. And then we flip that and say, okay, how do we want to feel instead? Because sometimes you don't even know how you want to feel, because nobody's ever asked you that before. Most of the time, we're really good at identifying how we feel now. And most of the time, it's not where we want to feel next. And so these are desired feelings, not current state. Okay. So how do you want to feel in your livelihood? And I'm just using that as an example. You want to feel abundant. You want to feel free. You want to feel confident. You want to feel, again, fill in the blank, right? And so that's how you kind of go through the whole process. Again, kind of a snapshot on all the different areas. And then from there, you're going to pick one word from each category, and those are your core desired feelings. Okay. And sometimes you'll see, maybe you want to feel, confident in your livelihood and in your relationships or something like that, right? So there might be a little bit less. So your core. So for me, are freedom, ease, joy, and connection. I can say my core desired feelings off the top of my head because I use them every day in every decision that I'm making. Okay, so just side note. So skipping over that process only because that's a pretty intensive process. And that's actually what I do with the first step I do with my clients. But what I want to get to is think about the thing that you're chasing. Okay, so this is how you can reverse engineer your goals. So not only are we going to get clear on how we want to feel first, and this is a great time of year to do it because we're already looking ahead. We want to change things. We want to, reflect on the last year and move into this year. So what I like to do is not only are we using this to guide us, we can then think about the things that we're chasing. So this is the point where we want to evaluate what we're doing currently and see if you need to update. So I want you to think of a goal, think of something that you're chasing, think of something that you really want. And maybe you do this, you write this down, and then you go, okay, if I had that, how would that make me feel? So maybe it's going on vacation, maybe it's buying that house, maybe that's hitting a certain number revenue in your business. Maybe that's finally speaking on stage. Like, I don't know what that is for you, but think about that goal, okay? And then I want you to think again, write down, how would that make you feel? And I don't want to hear good, because that's not a good word for this, description. How you would feel excited, you would feel empowered, you would feel connected, you would feel, all the ease, you would feel, free, liberated, like all the things that you would feel. Okay. And you're going to write those down. And you can even dive a little deeper into that as far as, okay, so then if I had that, then how would I feel? And ask yourself that question a couple times. Because I really want to get to the feeling of why you even want that thing. And so if that feeling matches up with your core desired feelings, then we're good. Okay. But what happens is sometimes we're chasing something that maybe wasn't our own to begin with. It was a thing we think we should be gauging or setting for. Maybe it's you see other people, other peers chasing after something that you feel like you should do, but maybe at the core of it, it's something that you don't actually want, because if you had it, you really either don't feel fulfilled in that way, or it's not going to make you feel how you think it's going to make you feel. So we reverse engineer the goal and make sure that it's in alignment with your other core desired feelings. Okay, so for me, freedom, ease, joy, and connection. And so how does that work? Well, for me, freedom. So I want to have freedom in schedule, freedom in my voice, freedom to set my own calendar, right? Things like that. Financial freedom. Ease is a really big word for me. So ease has been one of my core. And I think if you think about my background in total burnout and adrenal fatigue, and most of my clients come wanting more ease. So they've been hitting their head against the wall, like banging their head against the wall, throwing spaghetti at the wall, like nothing's sticking. Why can't it just be easy, right? And easy is not always ease, but how can you allow things to flow to you versus always feeling like you have to push? And so when I find myself pushing really, really hard and nothing's working, I have to reevaluate and go, okay, how can I follow the ease? Where are maybe some opportunities that I've let fall away? Or maybe I need to follow up with something, or maybe I just need to put myself out there. Where can I create more ease in what I'm doing? Okay. So that's kind of how you reverse engineer your goals. And again, I feel like this amount of time is so little to like dive into this, but I want to just give you some tips and theory on how this actually works. So what happens is once you know how you want to feel, then I go back through the areas of my life, through the wheel, and I go, okay, how am I going to achieve this feeling? Okay. So we have our big goals. Okay. And now we're going to go to daily life. Okay. So if I want to feel free or ease or connection, so connection is also a really big one for me. And I know that when I'm not feeling my core desired feelings, when I'm not in that vibration of doing things that light me up around those, then I feel off. And so this is where the practice really happens when you're having bad days, when you are feeling crummy, when just things aren't working for you. That's when I take inventory about am I doing things that actually make me feel the way I want to feel? And we can't always have exactly what we want because we have responsibilities as adults and all those things. Like I have a 4-year-old, all the things. And so to feel free, you can't just run away and be free all the time, but I can take a walk in nature. Or I can go play with my dog in the yard, something that just feels lighter, more expansive, right? And so what we do is then take our core desired feelings, and then I basically go through every area of my life and say, okay, now how am I going to feel this way? Okay. So if one of your core desired feelings is radiant or something like that, maybe you make sure you buy flowers, or you make sure to go out in the sun, or, you can elicit the feeling even if you're not getting what you want. Okay. And that might be a new idea for you guys to think about, but you can actually elicit the feeling even if you're not getting what you want yet. And so this is why it's so important, because I see this every time. I've been doing this for 4 or 5 years with clients and in my retreats. When you get in that frequency of feeling the feelings that you want to feel more frequently, even if it's not the big goal, it's little things every day, you actually, you get in vibration with the thing. And most of the time that I see this happen all the time, two things happen. Either you will, that thing that you're chasing anyways, you don't really even care about it anymore because you are feeling awesome and exactly how you want to feel every day. So it takes all the weight off of that thing that you're chasing, which is very liberating in itself. Or that thing that you wanted comes to you quicker. There's some velocity that kicks in to when you are in that vibration of that feeling. Okay, so if you're focusing on the feelings, getting in that vibration of the feelings, focusing every day on how you want to feel, that thing that you're chasing comes a lot quicker. And to me, that's the stuff that gets really exciting, because sometimes we feel that big goal is so far away from us. And so when we can get in alignment with the feeling, it actually helps us achieve it faster. And it's just, that's kind of the woo-woo part of it, is it just really getting in that vibration of the feelings, because that's really what it's about, right? So we're chasing it. And so as you go, not only are you chasing your goals for the right reasons, and you really want to feel the way you want to feel in a daily life. Again, it's about the journey. What I feel like this provides us is with our own navigation system to allow us to pivot, to change with ease. My journey has gone up and down, however far you are. And you can just think about your whole life, right? Not even just with your business, but you change, you turn. I'm in the middle of a pivot right now. Like, we just change and turn. And if you feel confident every step of the way, you really can't go wrong. And when we use our core desired feelings as a compass, it's leading us in that next direction. We feel like we're being pulled to that next direction. We're not feeling like we're pushing ourselves into something that doesn't feel good. And then on the flip side, if you fall off track, if you're experiencing stormy weather, if you're experiencing choppy waters, right? Like, you can also use your core desired feelings to guide you back, like a lighthouse guiding you back home. Okay, so when you feel off, and believe me, we all have our off days, right? And so when you have these off days, you feel crappy, whatever, you can say, okay, let me go back to my core desired feelings. How do I want to feel? And let's just do something. And sometimes it feels a little pushed. Like, okay, I feel crappy, but what would make me feel this is to go on a walk or go meet a friend for coffee. So I always feel difficult and stressed when I'm not connected. And so I need to force myself to go do something to feel in that vibration again. And so sometimes it feels a little forced, but I promise you, if you get better at it, it will feel a lot better, and it will get you on course faster, so that you don't spiral, so that you don't, have a month off where you're just feeling crappy. You get back on track quicker, which again helps you to achieve your goals faster. So that's pretty much the gist of it. I can talk about this for hours. And so I was really weary of how long I'd be talking. And so I wanted to make sure the guide that I have for you guys goes over this in great detail, as well as reviewing your past year and, really discovering what are the things that you were chasing, and did you actually feel the right way when you got it? And that's the other thing. Have you ever achieved a goal and didn't feel so good about it afterwards? You're like, oh, I got it, but now I don't feel like that was actually what I wanted. And so this is how to avoid that whole situation. So yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. And I would love any questions that anybody has, or how it can be applied. I love to help people decipher like what these words are for them, as well as, diving into the clarity of it all. Taking a goal and reverse engineering it, and then setting it again forward so that we can make sure they are all in alignment. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. If anybody has any questions, let me know.
So thank you so much, Gina. That was really, really amazing about how to really set goals that are aligned with what we want to desire, or what we actually desire. I just want to take a moment to just quickly summarize, I guess, some of the key points that stood out to me for people who joined us a little later. Mm-hmm. So one of the key things you said is, by using this methodology of doing the desire mapping, you're actually able to enjoy the journey, and not just, when you've reached that actual end goal. And, you keep waiting until reaching that end goal to feel happy. But this way, you're actually making sure your journey is quite enjoyable. I also loved some of the methodologies you shared with us in terms of how to find out what are our core desired values, which is a bit different from, I guess, really just what our goals are and how they will make us feel. But yeah, using that as a foundation to then go forward, look at your goals and how achieving that would make you feel and make sure they're both integrated. So I love that point, because so many times I think we don't do that activity of, how do I want to feel generally? We're always worried about, how do I want, why do I want to achieve this goal? How is it going to make me feel, without really, thinking about whether that's exactly what we want in our life and what we're striving for. So that was really, really beautiful. And yeah, and I love the exercises you gave us about, whenever we fall off track and we're away from our core desired feelings, we can even force ourselves to do activities that we know are going to get us closer to where those core desired values. So, so guys, if you're joining us late, please definitely go ahead and check out this video. It's going to be live in the group for another week, after which it's going to be put inside a member portal. So really make use of the time that you have, and Gina is going to be available. So if you have any additional questions or comments, please go ahead and drop them down for us so that we can have a look at it. And I just want to put this on the screen. This is the guide that Gina has created specifically for health and wellness coaches in this group who are joining this conversation and call. So you can go ahead and download that so that you can understand more about how to do this at a deeper level and get more guidance from Gina if this is something that you're really struggling with. So I just also want to mention that Jana has said that she has also read the Desire Mapping book, and she also found it a little heady. So yeah, I think the way you've taken it, your take on the entire aspect and how you've simplified it with your experience as a health coach, I think that was really wonderful for me to hear as well.
Yeah. I think that's, it's interesting. I've had a lot of people who've come to my retreats who said that they've read the Desire Map, but they didn't know how to implement it. And so, because it's nice theory, but yeah, the implementation. And so sometimes I skip over a lot of the goo, and we just get right into, kind of like the Cliff Notes version, and really then getting into the application of it, which I feel like so many people have read the Desire Map, but there's actually a very small percentage of people who actually implement it. So
absolutely.
yeah.
It's really and it's great that you're a facilitator for this and are supporting people through it, because I do feel like it's something that's so important to really feel happy where you are and enjoy the journey, which I honestly feel a lot of people miss out on. So, understanding this and really imbibing it is very helpful, just so that we can have more fun with life. So thank you so much for sharing this, Gina.
No problem. I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to go ahead and put this link also in the description and in the comments of this video so that you guys can check it out, download it, get more information. And if you have any questions, again, just reach out to us. We're available here. And Gina, I'm sure, would be happy to give us some feedback about it. Yeah, fantastic. So thank you so much again, Gina. And thank you guys for tuning in live. And we look forward to another presentation very soon. Take care. Yeah, thank you.